Hey, Cody, we are live.
We are live.
Can't hear you, Cody. Okay.
No, I was just saying we're about to go live. I was actually talking. About to go live, so we're gonna be out. We can hear you, obviously, Lyndon, but you won't be able to hear us. If there's anything production-wise you need to say, just put it in the private chat.
Are you counting us down, or are we just starting at 3:05?
We'll just do 3:05 or your time, 4:05 our time.
We are live now.
Oh, he already took us. I'm out.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, and thank you for joining HBCUGO.TV and Tennessee State University for our virtual masterclass series. We feature award-winning broadcasters, directors, and production specialists. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from award-winning director, animator, and visual effects artist, Lyndon Barlois. Lyndon has played pivotal roles in creating groundbreaking visual effects for feature films like the Matrix trilogy, Happy Feet, Tree of Life, and The Thing. Lyndon, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Ariel. This is a pleasure.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about, your background and how you came to do what you do now?
Sure. So I grew up in New Orleans, and as a kid, like we all do, I drew all the time. I made stuff out of clay and aluminum foil and wire and even chewing gum off the bottom of church pews. So I was about 10 or 11, and I realized that if I twisted chewing gum wrapper, if I sculpted them with the paper side out of the foil, I can color them, and I can paint them. And what I started doing was making drivers to put in Hot Wheels cars. And so I never stopped. So all through, elementary and junior high and high school and even college, when I was at Xavier, XU, I still made these things. So I had lots of them, because they went from the drivers to athletes to teams to the whole shebang. And I had a show during the Super Bowl in my senior year at Xavier. I had a show for Super Bowl 24 where I made dioramas of these miniatures of the previous 23 games. Mm-hmm. And it got a lot of attention. And then from there, I was like, well, hey, shit, maybe I could actually bring these suckers to life. Because, I play with them like toys myself, but I could actually bring them to life. Because, I always had an interest in film and animation, like how this stuff is made, and maybe I could do that, because I wanted to do that. So I got introduced to Cal Arts, and I went to Cal Arts for grad school and studied animation and film. And that's what, so I did 3 stop motion films there with my miniatures. And then, shortly after graduating from Cal Arts, I was going to work on Mars Attacks, because Mars Attacks is going to be all stop motion. Mm-hmm. But they scrapped all the stop motion because, Jurassic Park was popular, and Toy Story, and CG was the new flavor. Everybody wanted to do CG. So I had to apply to studios. I had to chase after studios that I knew would train me how to use software. I never did any computer work. So it's all a matter of learning the software. If you learn the animation skill, you could just input that into the software. The skill you have, it just, it's a different discipline because you're going from a physical set working with things to actually working with the mouse, and imagining being on the physical set in the machine.
Right.
But it's just the software. You just learn the software. And so then, I was a character animator for 3 years, professionally working on film, features and commercials and some video game stuff. So I built a pretty extensive reel. I had a lot of work. And then from there, I got an opportunity to direct stop motion. I directed an episode of the PJs. So I was at Benton doing that. We were going back and forth. And just been directing ever since. And that's what led to all the other feature film work. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. What do you like more?
That's, it depends, I guess, on what I'm doing at the time. I love working on those films. I love the camaraderie of being with, the teams of people. But I also love doing my work. It's more isolating, but it's my work and it's personal. And I'm just in there, getting dirty, making these miniatures come to life. And now even lately, because I took a detour from the feature film work into virtual reality, VR work, where I actually met Curtis at a show we were having with our VR work at Sotheby's in New York. And from there, and now lately I've been using, I was just one of the Unreal Fellows, Epic Games is the Unreal Fellowship. So I was just one of the, I was just in the fellowship. So I've been using more Unreal now. I'm actually doing a PSA now for the election I'm trying to get done with the engine. So, it just depends. And I'm having a blast doing that. So I just like creative outlets.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, you have a lot of career experience. I guess a good question that students are asking right now is, how did you start your career? Like, how did you get your first job? And then what do students need to do in order to land their first job?
You just gotta, there's a part of it that requires a lot of shameless hustle because no one's gonna come knocking on your door.
Right.
So you just gotta get out there and make yourself known. You gotta, do the work. You got to be really stringent about the work and the practice because it's very, very competitive. And no one's gonna, someone's gonna give you an opportunity, but you have to be able to produce with the opportunity. You can't go in there and skate. You can't half step. You've got to be ready for it because it's tough. So. I would say you just have to have a strong reel of the fundamentals that show that you have an understanding of what it is. Because, no one's going to expect you to know everything, but they are going to expect you to know when you go in that you have a working knowledge of things and how to take direction and how to execute, in a timely manner. Because, it's a lot of work, it's high pressure. It's fun as hell. So it makes, I don't want to discount that because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The challenges are real. So, but you got to hustle. You just got to show, you got to hustle everywhere. You can't be afraid to show your work because you never know who's going to see it and be like, okay, let's give this person a shot. Right. But it's just going to take hustle. And because, it's showbiz, there's really no 1, 2, 3 step to it all. You just gotta chase it and go after it.
Absolutely. So what does a day, look like for you as a director?
Well, it depends on if it's because it's different, in my position, I am involved from, script to screen.
Okay.
So, if I'm in studio on a show, I'm getting the script and helping to break it down. What's all the parameters? What's it going to take to do it? How many characters? All the ingredients basically. And then from there, I'm working with because I am primarily my responsibility is the character animation, is the performance. So then I'm working with the character designers. I'm working with the storyboard artists. Seeing how the scenes are breaking out, the shots, how the length, and the action. what the performances are. So then I'm working with the character designers to make sure the characters are built properly, modeled properly, and then I have to work with the riggers to make sure the controls are put on it properly before they go to the animator. And then before you get to that, if I have to be on set, then I'm working with the director and the actors to make sure that if live actors are interacting with a digital character, that it's accurate. So when you get that footage back in studio, the relationship works and it doesn't look fake. You try to make it as believable as possible. Yeah. So it just depends. When I'm doing, if it's a totally digital production, then I'm just in studio. I'm doing all those steps. It's just not on set. The set is the studio. So then I'm working with those artists and my animators all day, directing them through all the performances, and then stealing a shot here and there so I can at least have something that I've done in the film. And then when I'm doing my work, it's the same thing. I will write it, and then I will storyboard. I'll draw it all out, and then I'll make all the characters. Set up my stuff with all my iPhone cameras and all the lights, just like an actual production set, but it's small. I could do it on a tabletop.
Yeah. And
then and just go to town and animate it. And every time I have a shot, then I'm just plugging it into the storyboard, the animatic, as it's flowing.
Yeah. So does that look like, a 12-hour day? Is that, students always ask, how long is my day?
Oh, easily. 12 hours is nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
Got
it. That time flies so fast that, you don't even realize it. I mean, I'll be, sometimes I'll, leave my studio at 5 a.m., get a nap, get up again at 9, so, but that's just, it's, the
life.
It's just the life, but it's fun. But like I said, it just keeps, churning. So yeah, 12 hours is a short day. That's a good day.
Gotcha. Yeah. I will report that back. We have another student question. They want to know, what hurdles have you had to overcome?
I think the biggest hurdle is just the competition and just getting yourself known and getting people to respect and believe in, just getting yourself known and getting people to be confident enough to trust you with the vision and stuff. There are obviously racial issues and things, but again, you can't. It's an obstacle that you just can't allow to defeat you. You got to get over that shit. Because, I can't pinpoint specifically the things that, opportunities I may have lost for race, but it's always in the back of your head. So you have an idea. You're always questioning it. Was it because of that? Because certain conversations you may have or certain things like I came off directing all the animation in the Matrix sequels, Reloaded Revolutions, all the Zion stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking to a studio about going there to do one of their films, and I get asked if I'd be willing to be a senior animator. But you got to be fucking kidding me. Right? Like, so it's that kind of shit. And that for me right there, the conversation just ends. I don't need to have the conversation with that person anymore or even pursue that opportunity because, I know that wouldn't happen to someone else. Right. You know what I mean? So, right. So you just keep it moving. And if that is if that's a hurdle or that's an obstacle, you just jump over that shit and you go to the next one because that opportunity, I didn't get that one, but I got, 5 other ones. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And they say one door closes and another one opens up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You kick them in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you talked about the Matrix and working on the Matrix. What was that like?
That was a blast. That was a lot of fun. Big production, huge production. So a lot of that time was spent in Sydney, Australia, being on set, because all that war shit we had to do. So being on set for that, and then taking all that footage and all the work we did there back to the Bay Area because the studio was set up in the Bay Area. And so I was commuting between LA and the Bay Area because LA has always been home base.
Mm-hmm.
So when I would do films away, I would always commute. So whether it's the Bay Area or it's Vancouver, and I did that for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney obviously is not a commute, so I had to be there for like months at a time. But that was cool because I did that for The Matrix and for Happy Feet. I had to go to Sydney for a while for that as well to work with George Miller. But no, it was fun. It was, like I said, big production, and a lot of interaction with the producers, with the Wachowskis, with, the actors. I mean, the whole shebang. It's a blast. It's cool when you're on that set, and, you get these looks. And you're like, yeah. Like I say, you don't trip on it because you're there for a reason. Nobody's doing you a favor. You're there to do a job.
Right.
People need to recognize, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun. That was a blast. Yeah. And this with a show like that, because so much is on the line. There's so many things you have to deal with besides the work, like the personalities and the egos, all of that shit. But that I love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings up a good question. A student asked, what skills do you need? I guess to be an animator, to be a director, what are the top skills that you'd say that they would need?
Well, I mean, from the start, you need strong art skills. You need strong, fundamentals in animation skills. Acting skills to help because character animation is performance. But outside of that, you do need a lot of personal skills because you're going to be dealing with a lot of different personalities and different egos and different, everyone's bringing some kind of issue to the table. And so you have to be able to deal with all that shit to navigate all these people, because, there's a lot of yelling going on. I've, done a lot of yelling and I've gotten yelled at a lot myself. And so it's nonstop. But, you don't take it home. You don't take it personally because it's just what it is. So you do have to have that tough skin.
Yeah.
In terms of that, the things that you don't necessarily get taught that you have to, learn how to develop.
That makes sense. Do you have any advice for someone who's trying to break into the business?
Yeah, like I say, do the work. No matter, it's all about doing the work and being ready to do the work because, whether you're a writer or if you're a filmmaker, or if you're a writer, director, if you're a producer, if you want to be an artist in terms of like animation and visual effects, if you want to be a lighter, a modeler, if you want to be a set designer, costume designer, it's such a big umbrella. And there's so many areas under that umbrella that we fit into. That a lot of people don't know about because most of us, we just see what's in front of the camera, and then we'll see if anybody gets any juice from being behind the camera, it's most of the director. Mm-hmm. So you see those things that look glamorous and glory, but are again incredibly difficult and incredibly annoying and all of the above. None of that shit is as glamorous as it seems, but it is fun. But you also need to look deeper into the other areas, like, lighting and gaffers and, production assistants, like there's so many areas. And like I say, even within visual effects, when you look at all those names go up, those thousands of names that credits roll, mm-hmm. All those artists are responsible for bringing those films to screen. So, and any of us can do that shit if we're geared to that. Like I said, I've been doing this professionally since '96, so I've been in the game for a while. And you just got to find your way in and where you fit. But so yeah, there's just so many. There's so many things to do. But I would just say, be ready for whatever that is. You have to be able to. You have to know the craft. It's crucial that you know the craft. Absolutely. Because it is a craft. It's constant practice, and it's very competitive. And there's 1,000 people clawing for every one job. You know? And that's why it's, it's tough, because if it were easy, we all be doing it. What's the point?
That's true.
Yeah.
Talking about your craft, we do have some of your work that we wanted to pull up and just, take a look or show some of it. Did you want to talk about any of it?
Sure. Yeah.
So we have it up on the screen.
Yeah. So that's my website, itsarapper.com. And that's one of, this is a piece I made of Kobe. And it's for a longer form thing that I'm doing. But this is my reel. So this is my stop motion reel. Actually, it's not There we go.
Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me, that's a sin. I won't ever slack up, punk, you better back up. Try and play the role of your whole crew act up. Get up, stand up, come up, throw your hands up if you got the feeling. Jump up, touch the ceiling, monsters of fun flow. Someone's fucking junk, yo, I'll bust them in the eye. And then I'll take the punks out, feeling it funkin'. Amps in a trunk, and I got more rhymes than this cops at a Dunkin' Donut shop. Sure enough, I got pop from the kids on the hill with my mom and my pops. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around, jump around, jump around, jump around, jump up and get down. Jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, jump, jump.
So cool.
Thank you. And I think after this, my my visual effects reel will play. Because that's all my stop motion is.
I love, how you showed yourself actually making it.
Want to pause it?
Or maybe we can turn the volume down.
Yeah. You just mute it. Yeah. Okay. So what's your question?
I was just saying, I love how you showed yourself actually making it, and students today think everything is done on a computer still.
Oh no, not at all. No.
Yeah, and that's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what I do now, this particular work. Well, I mean, I've been doing it, but I've gone now, like I do it pretty much full time. It's fun combining everything I've learned in visual effects and then everything I've learned with practical animation and putting these things together to produce these, these films. Because I shoot and edit it all on iPhones also. Everything you see here is just shot on iPhones.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're all walking around with studios in our pockets. So, we got to learn how to use them.
Absolutely. And so how far would something like this take you?
It depends. It depends on how, because you're looking at a compilation of probably 6 films there.
Mm-hmm.
So they range everywhere from, 9 weeks to, I'd say 1 week. Like one of the things in there was a 10-second clip that I did, this interstitial for this film that's coming out. And that took like a week to do. So it's anywhere from 1 week to 6 months.
So
or even a few years. Prize Fighter took me a few years.
With you saying, you shoot and edit everything on your iPhone, are there certain apps that you're using? I mean,
yeah, Stop Motion Studio Pro.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Something that all of our students can, start working on and
immediately. Yeah, immediately. I just taught this summer. I taught some kids in Gloucester, Mississippi, ages 6 to 17. I taught them how to do stop motion using their phones and a tablet. And it was awesome. Yeah, they loved it. It was a blast.
That's so cool. We do have one last student question that came in. So they want to know, if there's one thing that you could change in the film and television industry, what would it be?
Obviously, inclusion. You know what I mean? Because, like I say, we've been doing this work a long time, and everyone's like, oh my God, now it's time for this. It's been time. You guys have been looking over us all this while. We've been doing this shit. So it's just got to be more balanced.
Yeah.
It's got to be more balanced. And it can't be a fad. It can't be, oh, now we're here. No, we've been here. We've been doing this shit as long as you guys. You just have not been looking.
Right.
So now it's time to recognize. Yeah.
Is there something that, I mean, I guess there's nothing that we can do, but what needs to be done, I guess, is the question.
It's just got to be a top-down thing. We just have to get in more positions of power, and to start making these changes and these decisions, and giving opportunities where they deserve to be given.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but to do that, you got to do the work. You got to get in there and know the work. You got to do the work first. So it's a marathon, and it's a step. You got to just work. You got to do the climb. Yeah.
Speaking of doing the climb, did you have any mentors going through all this work?
I had my art professor, John Scott at Xavier, was a really strong mentor of mine. And that was, running all my practical art skills. And then I had a really good mentor at Cal Arts, Jules Zimmer, who, guided and encouraged my animation work there. But then, outside professionally, yes, a lot of people you come across contact with, whose work you admire, and you guys bounce off each other, you have a mentorship. And then I mentor a lot of people myself. So, it's the loop that just keeps giving. You know what I mean? We gotta constantly give back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's your advice on someone finding a mentor? You had a professor.
I think, professors are great, but also if you have to know the people who do the work in your field, who you admire.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of time when people are asking, when mentors say to me they want to be a writer or an art, whatever kind of artist, whether it's a writer or an animator or a production artist or even a painter, designer, whatever. I say, well, who's your favorite? And if they don't have any names, then I just question how serious that is, because you have to know where you have to know where the work comes from, and you have to be inspired by somebody.
Yeah.
To even have the interest. So give a name, even if it's an editor, give a name, because these people are out there and the work's there. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
It's not hard to know the names. You know what I mean? So, and when you get those names, then seek those people out, because you'd be amazed how accessible they are.
That's true. Social media, LinkedIn.
Everyone's all too easy to find.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good point. Any other last points you want to make? We don't want to take up too much of your time today.
I just say have fun with it.
Okay.
Keep it fun. The day that stops being fun, I'm going to stop doing this shit. Keep it fun.
That's true. That's true.
Life is short. Have fun with it.
And there you heard it. Well, we just want to say thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us today. It's really been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, my pleasure. This has been a blast. Thank you, Ali.
Absolutely.
And good luck, guys, and stay safe. And, if you guys want me to look at anything you're doing, just shoot it my way. They have all my contact.
Now that's something big if you're willing to look at stuff. So how can people find you?
Just like we just said.
Okay, social media, LinkedIn.
Yeah, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything. We're Facebook, everywhere.
Now, I challenge everyone out there watching to take advantage of that, because not many people are willing to look at things and help. So that's major.
Well, we have to do that.
Yeah.
That goes without saying for me. We have to do that.
Absolutely. I agree. All right. Well, again, thank you. And everyone out there watching, thank you for joining HBCUGO.TV and Tennessee State University for our virtual masterclass series.
I love it. Wow, this is an honor to be a guest of this. Very cool. Really. I appreciate it.
It was a pleasure having you. And we're clear.
That was a blast.